What if the oceans drained away? A curious nova journey across the hidden Earth. Stand on any beach and look out at the water. It feels like the edge of the world. It isn't, it's a curtain. Behind that curtain, hidden under more water than you can really picture, is more than half of your planet. Mountain ranges longer than any on land. Canyons that make the Grand Canyon look like a scratch. Whole drowned countries where people once lived and hunted and died. And almost none of it has ever been seen in the open air. So today, let's do something impossible. Let's pull the curtain back. Let's drain the oceans, slowly, meter by meter, and finally see what the surface of your world is actually shaped like underneath. First, understand what we're removing. The world ocean holds about 1.3 billion cubic kilometers of water. If you took all of it and spread it evenly over the land, every continent would vanish under a layer almost 9 kilometers deep. The average depth of the sea is around 3,700 meters, and at its lowest point, a black slot in the western Pacific called the Challenger Deep, the floor drops to nearly 11 kilometers down. That is deeper than Everest is tall, with room to spare. We're going to lower the water in stages, and our very first stop is not science fiction. It already happened. Drop the sea by 120 meters. 20,000 years ago, the planet did exactly this. The world was in the grip of the last ice age, around 6 degrees colder than today. An enormous ice sheet sat on top of North America, Europe, and Asia. All that ice had to come from somewhere, and it came from the sea. So much water was locked up as ice on land that the global ocean dropped by roughly 120 meters. At that level, the gentle underwater rims of the continents, the shallow shelves, are suddenly dry land. If it happened today, the coastline would simply walk away from you. New York, London, Shanghai, Buenos Aires would all find themselves stranded, tens or even hundreds of kilometers inland, staring at dry plains where the ocean used to be. But the real magic of minus 120 meters is what it reconnects. Because at that depth, land bridges rise out of the sea, and they are not narrow strips of rock. They are whole countries. In the North Sea between Britain and Europe, a fertile lowland reappears. Its name is Doggerland. It was real. It had rivers and forests and marshes, and for thousands of years it was some of the best hunting ground in Europe, full of people. Britain was not an island. You could walk to France. Doggerland's final destruction, around 8,000 years ago, may have come in a single afternoon when an underwater landslide off Norway sent a tsunami 25 meters high sweeping across it. Far to the north, between Siberia and Alaska, another lost world appears called Beringia. Not a frozen bridge, but a broad, mild grassland. And on it waited the ancestors of every Native American people. They lived on Beringia for thousands of years during the Ice Age, and when the ice finally pulled back, they walked east into an empty continent and became the first Americans. And in Southeast Asia, the dropping sea fuses the islands into giants. Sumatra, Borneo, and Java join the mainland into a single vast rainforest called Sundaland. To the south, Australia, Tasmania, and New Guinea merge into one continent, Sahel. Sit with what that means. 20,000 years ago, our ancestors didn't need boats to spread across the planet. They simply walked across the floor of what is now ocean. And then it ended. As the ice melted, the sea came back, sometimes in sudden surges, and it broke these worlds apart. Genetic studies of Southeast Asia suggest that rising water shattered Sundaland, cutting its land area by more than half, and drove people north in what may be the earliest recorded case of human beings forced to flee a rising sea. The ocean has done this before. Remember that. Now let's keep draining, past 100 meters, past 500, down through 1,000 meters. The shallow shelves end, and the floor drops away down steep slopes into the true deep. The straits and gateways of the world dry up one by one. The English Channel long gone, the Bering Strait gone, and then a deeper threshold breaks. At the Strait of Gibraltar, the narrow neck of water connecting the Atlantic to the Mediterranean, the floor lifts clear of the falling sea, and the Mediterranean is cut off from the world ocean completely. And once again, this is not a fantasy. It happened about 6 million years ago, and geologists call it the Messinian salinity crisis. When the Mediterranean was sealed off, the hot sun kept evaporating it, and the rivers couldn't keep up. So the entire sea began to dry out. Picture it, one of the great seas of the world, falling, shrinking, until what was left was a searing, hypersalty desert sunk 3 to 5 kilometers below the level of the outside ocean. The deepest, hottest dry place the planet has known in a very long time. Its floor caked in salt deposits up to 3 kilometers thick. The ancestral Nile, flowing down into that empty pit, carved a canyon to rival anything in Arizona. It stayed a dead salt basin for hundreds of thousands of years, and then it refilled, and the way it refilled is almost beyond belief. Around 5 million years ago, the Atlantic broke back through at Gibraltar. What started as a trickle tore open a channel, and then the ocean came roaring in. At its peak, this Zanclean flood may have poured water into the empty Mediterranean at hundreds of times the flow of the Amazon, the surface rising by more than 10 meters a day, refilling most of an entire sea in as little as a few months. In 2023, geologists found the fingerprints of that megaflood frozen in the rocks of Sicily, ripples carved by a current of unimaginable power, flowing west to east, exactly as the theory predicted. So at our minus 1,000 meter mark, picture the whole planet doing what the Mediterranean once did. The minor seas of the world, isolated and evaporating, leaving blinding white plains of salt at the bottom of the basins, while the real depths of the ocean finally start to show themselves. So let's go all the way, remove the last drop, and meet the true face of the Earth. It is not a smooth, empty bowl. It is the most violent and dramatic landscape on the planet, and the first thing you'd notice is a mountain range. One single mountain range, winding through every ocean basin on Earth, 65,000 kilometers long. It's called the Mid-Ocean Ridge, and it is, by far, the longest mountain chain in the world. It wraps around the planet like the stitching on a baseball, and it dwarfs the Andes and the Himalayas combined. And you have almost certainly never seen it, because all of it is underwater. That ridge is the actual seam of the planet, the line where tectonic plates pull apart and fresh molten rock rises to fill the gap. Drain the water away, and it would stand revealed as a 65,000 kilometer chain of active volcanoes, steaming and erupting along the spine of the world. Spreading out from the ridge are the abyssal plains, the flattest places on Earth, buried under millions of years of fine sediment that drifts down like a slow snow. Rising out of them are thousands of seamounts, dead underwater volcanoes, some with flat tops that were once islands, planed off by waves before they sank. And slicing through it all are the trenches, the deepest scars on the planet, where the Mariana Trench would yawn open as a pitch-black chasm 11 kilometers deep, a canyon that makes every dry land canyon look like nothing. And here, with the water gone, an old argument finally gets settled. What is the tallest mountain on Earth? You were taught it was Everest, and by height above sea level, that's true, 8,800 meters. But Everest cheats a little. It sits on top of a high plateau, so it has a head start. Its base is already far above the sea. Measure a mountain honestly from its true base to its peak, and the winner is somewhere you would never expect. Mauna Kea in Hawaii. Above the water, it's only about 4,200 meters. But its real base is down on the floor of the Pacific, almost 6 kilometers below the surface. From base to summit, Mauna Kea stands over 10,000 meters tall, beating Everest by more than a kilometer. The tallest mountain on your planet has been hiding underwater the whole time. Stripped of its oceans, Earth would not be the calm blue marble in the famous photographs. It would be a scarred, rugged, geologically violent world, its true face finally uncovered. So why don't we ever see it? Because the oceans cannot simply drain away. Water is held here by gravity, and there is nowhere for it to fall. The only way a planet truly loses its ocean is to have it torn away into space, which is exactly what happened to Mars when its magnetic shield died. Earth keeps its water because Earth keeps its shield. But here is the unsettling part. While the ocean can't drain, the line between land and sea is anything but fixed. It is a pendulum, and over deep time it swings enormously. Back in the age of the dinosaurs, there were no polar ice caps at all, and the sea floor itself was swollen, and the ocean stood as much as 100 to 170 meters higher than today. In the ice ages, the sea fell by more than 100 meters. The shoreline you think of as permanent has wandered up and down by hundreds of meters, again and again. And right now, it's moving again the other way. As the ice in Greenland and Antarctica melts, that water is going straight into the sea, and the warming ocean is expanding on top of it. If every glacier and ice sheet on Earth melted, the sea would rise by roughly 65 to 70 meters and drown every coastal city on the planet. The very shelves our ancestors once walked across would go back under, deeper than before. So the oceans will not drain away. But that beach you were standing on, looking out at the water, the one that felt like the edge of the world, it was never the edge of anything. It is just the line where the water happens to be sitting today. It has been hundreds of meters out that way, and hundreds of meters in this way, and it has buried countries and exposed them and buried them again, all without ever asking us to notice. The land and the sea have always been trading places. We just happen to be alive in one frame of a very, very long film. This has been Curious Nova, curiosity across time. I'll see you on the next one.